Season 1 of Diablo introduced 32 new malignant hearts to the game, and few of which are better than the Barber. The Barber is a wrathful heart that causes any critical strikes and or subsequent damage within a time frame to be absorbed by the target. After that time has elapsed, the absorbed damage will erupt onto surrounding enemies and deal more damage per second that it was stored. Now this is fantastic. Originally I was going to play penetrating shot this season, but as soon as I got this and I tested it out, I had to try out rapid fire. My biggest pet peeve with rapid fire in the past was that it struggled with area of effect. It didn't have the coverage that something like a penetrating shot did, but this aspect really does help to mitigate that. Combine it with the brutal heart that causes our subterfuge skills to leave behind shadow decoy traps that taunt enemies, enabling us to group them together much nicer, and we can get screen-wide explosions really consistently, much like we would on penetrating shot. So let's talk about the rapid fire rogue build I'm currently playing in season 1 of Diablo. We'll kick things off with the aspects, and you'll see here on my helmet I have the aspect of might, which grants me 20% damage reduction for 3 seconds whenever I use a basic skill. Since we're combo point based, this is going to be up all the time. On the gloves, we have accelerating, which causes our critical strikes to grant more attack speed. Fantastic. We have disobedience on the pants, granting us additional armor. This is still very good despite the nerfs. Boots. This one's very important. We have the aspect of quickening fog that causes us to drop a smoke grenade at the end of dash. Now this is brilliant because this smoke grenade actually counts as a subterfuge skill. It procs the brutal heart that then summons a taunt mob. On the weapon we have Edge Masters. Edge Masters is brilliant on rapid fire. Rapid fire is one of the few rogue skills that actually just naturally always has high energy. On the amulet we of course have rapid fire. The higher you can get this the better. We want to ricochet, do more damage to more targets, have better coverage. For the rings, we have Imbue Potency. This is going to increase the effects of our chill and also our shadow damage on our explosions. And then basic skill attack speed on the other ring, just so we can build those combo points faster. We actually have a unique playstyle on this rogue build as opposed to other combo point rogue builds where you can actually get away with just building one combo point a lot of the time. It works quite nicely with the next item, Condemnation, which gives us a chance to generate 3 instead of 1. And the reason for this is you just do so much damage, you don't actually need to stop and build 3 combo points between every attack. I've just been blasting through maps, 1 puncture, 1 rapid fire, and then if you're on a tough elite or a boss, sure, build up to 3 combo points. But while mapping, I've been finding just the 1 puncture rapid fire to be more than enough. Then finally on the sword we have Expecting, which is kind of a staple for combo point builds. Despite what I just mentioned, playing it slightly differently, this is still fantastic. As you can see, I have a 5%. This would ideally be a lot more. Now let's take a quick dive into the skill tree. We'll start off with puncture, going over to fundamental puncture, pretty standard stuff. Rapid fire, enhanced rapid fire, improved rapid fire to get energy back when we cast rapid fire and hit a vulnerable enemy. We're grabbing sturdy, but we're not bothering with siphoning strikes. There are many reasons for this, other than it got nerfed. But the other thing is, because mobs are immune to our damage, we can't really lucky here. Dash, of course, we need to proc that smoke grenade that we spoke about. With discipline dash and enhanced dash, weapon mastery. They're moving into the subterfuge skills. We do have dark shrouds. We do actually have 2 things that are going to proc our malignant hearts. We have dark shroud, and we've gone over and grabbed the move speed. You could grab the crit if you want. Either or is fine. Smoke grenade, and then I've actually grabbed enhanced smoke grenade, so if enemies are stood in my smoke grenade, they take 20% increased damage. So this can be good against single targets. You just have to be careful where you aim your dash, basically. The end of your dash is where it drops a smoke grenade, so you need to make sure the boss is like stood where you land. Then we move down to shadow imbuement. I've actually put 5 points into this just to get bigger explosions. Enhanced shadow imbuement and mixed. This is just a 12% increased modifier to all non-physical damage that we deal. This is fantastic for all our shadow imbued rapid fires and all our cold imbued rapid fires. Speaking of which, cold imbue, coming down to grab mixed cold imbue so that any crowd controlled enemy is going to take 20% additional damage, and if it's frozen, 40% additional damage. So you're going to be doing huge damage. There's a massive amount of burst damage locked behind cold imbue, and that's the reason we're actually taking this over something like poison imbue. The way that Barber works is we want to do as much damage as we can within those 2.3 seconds or all the way up to 4 seconds that we can. Cold imbue is much better for burst damage, and also it allows us to grab frigid finesse, which means we deal 15% increased damage to chilled enemies. Precision imbuement, just a nice amount of critical strike when we're using our imbuement skills. And then finally we come down to adrenaline rush and haste to grab some move speed. And finishing off in close quarters combat, you could use precision. It's absolutely fine to do so. I much more enjoy playing with close quarters combat. You need to damage a close enemy with both a cutthroat and a marksman skill. Our cutthroat skill of choice is dash. So you want to be dashing basically once every 8 seconds, which you're going to do anyway because you want to be summoning that taunt. So we end up having 20% increased attack speed and 30% increased damage against crowd controlled enemies, which is absolutely huge. Much better, in my opinion, than precision in this build in particular. Now, of course, this is version 1 of this build. We're on ground 0, but I will share the Paragon tree that I'm currently using. It is very reminiscent of the one that is in my penetrating shot updated build guide that I posted a few days ago. So if you want the full version of this tree and how it expects to be at level 100, you can absolutely check that out and see it there. But as for what I have right now, starting out, we have the combat glyph. This is going to help you with your energy recovery to improve the power of your edge masters aspect and also give you a ton of crit damage. Moving on to the cunning stratagem tree, we have the exploit glyph socketed, which grants us a ton of vulnerable damage, but also means that we apply vulnerable whenever we hit a new target, and this lasts for 3 seconds. Also a decent amount of core skill damage and armor that you can pick up in these trees as well. Very nice. Next, we move into the exploit weakness tree, where we can get some vulnerable damage and also socket in the infusion glyph, which will give us a bonus to our imbued skill damage. So anytime we're using shadow imbue or cold imbue, then we're going to do more damage with them. Also, a very small bonus is that we reduce the cast time of each imbue by 0.5 seconds every time we use one. And now the tree that I'm working on right now is the Eldritch Bounty tree. This is going to be a huge increase in power when I actually get to this point, but I'm currently working my way across. I have the Marksman glyph socketed in. Don't currently have it ranked up to 40 to get that increased damage reduction. I could obviously just come down and get this 10-point node here, but honestly, I kind of miss this when I've been playing. So yeah, we're going to head up to Eldritch Bounty though, and then follow that up by grabbing Imbuer, and then we'll move on after that. Any updates to the Paragon tree will be included in future videos when I've had time to really dive deep into the trees and theorycraft what the best choices are going to be. Now, as for Malignant Hearts, first of all, I'll explain where exactly you can farm these. I chose to farm the tunnel here. It's called the Ravening Pit. I think there are a lot of videos on these. Rob actually just made a video. You could go check that one out if you want to see exactly how to farm these Malignant Hearts. You can get plenty of Wrathfuls, and you'll eventually get your hands on the Barber. As you can see, I have a ton here. I think this is from about a few hours worth of farming the tunnels. It does take a bit, and it's better in a group, but you can farm them pretty reliably. So I went with the Caged Heart of the Barber. Of course, that's pretty much the most important thing, what makes this build tick now. Then we have the Caged Heart of Trickery, which is used to summon that Shadow Decoy Trap, which is going to taunt all the mobs for us, group them together, and then we can just explode them all. And then finally, one of the strongest hearts in the game, least of all because of the damage it deals, but up to 20% of incoming damage is instead suppressed. So you just have a flat 20% less damage taken. It's phenomenal. And of course, this damage, it's not nothing, but very rarely are you going to kill any mobs with this or anything like that. But those are the 3 hearts, and if you want to go and farm them, as I said, go check out Rob's video. I'll link it in the description if you want to go see exactly how to farm these. Now, the final thing that I want to talk about is some issues that have popped up whilst I've been playing this build. This build isn't perfect. There are some things that I need to figure out and kind of tinker with. But first of all, being Umbrous. Umbrous grants you a free Dark Shroud when you lucky hit. Normally, as a rogue, you wouldn't have to hard cast Dark Shroud. You could just get it naturally, especially when you're using marksman skills. However, for this build, because the mobs are actually immune when you're attacking through the Barber, you can't actually lucky hit them, so you can't gain your Dark Shrouds. One of our skill slots has to be spent on Dark Shroud, which then means that we have to choose between Dash and Shadow Step. Now, Dash, as you've seen, is used for us to trigger a Subterfuge skill, which we could cut, but it's very, very good. So the problem I have right now is how do I fit in some kind of CC immunity or something to make the build feel better without having an unstoppable skill, because normally I would use Shadow Step to break CCs. The one thing I'm probably going to do is add in Flawless Topaz instead of the red gems. This will give me a huge amount of damage reduction whilst I'm CC'd. If I do get CC'd, I kind of just have to wait it out. If you're not CC'd, the build is phenomenal. If you are CC'd, obviously it's annoying and there's no way to get out of it. So that's what I want to try and figure out. I hope you enjoyed the video. This has been a really fun build to play, and I'm looking forward to trying to min-max it. I'm only level, 77? I have pretty decent gear. It's not the best. I think I even have some sacred items still. Yeah, these gloves. My helmet. We got a long way to go, and I hope you are going to come on the journey with me as we min-max this build to the moon. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye-bye.